Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Ashley from I Have Plans For You. Today I'm going to be using these colored pencils. I have different brands of colored pencils. I have the Amazon Basics and the Prismacolor color pencils. I've actually mixed all of my color pencils together because they were in their separate containers, but that really didn't make as much sense for me. And I just needed to be able to pick out whichever colors, and there are different colors in the pack, so I mixed them all together now. But I also have these Zig Clean Color Real Brush Pens, and these are by Kuretake. They're called real brush pens because the tip, the nib, is actually a brush. So instead of something like the Tombow brush pens or any of the other brush pens out there that are a felt tip, these are actually like a paintbrush on the end. I don't use these often, and I wanted to pull them out because I just wanted to try them out and see how I enjoyed using them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We're doing my September bullet journal spread. I had this idea to do these kind of like chunky letters that were kind of touching and like just fill the whole page with the lettering this time. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing each letter, or just really kind of like writing each letter, and then I'm going back in and filling in the space to chunk them up a little bit. And I am noticing with these brush pens that they still kind of have a similar look to other watercolor brush pens like the Tombow brush pens, but they are kind of fun to use because you do know that you're using a real brush kind of like at the end. But they do give me more streakiness than I was expecting, but I'm trying to kind of learn to work with that and, keep filling in and get the look that I want. So you can see that I'm kind of changing the direction of the letters to give it this fun, funky look. I know that September is normally like fall colors, but I wasn't feeling fall colors. I was feeling bright colors, and then adding a few fall colors in there to kind of ground the color scheme just a little bit. But I really wanted this to feel fun and bright because in the South, in the United States, it's still pretty warm now. So it still kind of feels like summer even though we're getting on into fall. And I wanted to give that kind of playful vibe to this spread. So most of you don't know this, but I actually have diagnosed OCD, and using these colors and different mediums in my bullet journal spreads this year has really kind of helped me fight the perfection that goes along with my OCD, because a lot of times you can't control what happens on the page the way that you want to, but to get your work down, you have to just keep going with what works, and you kind of have to fight against that like first time perfectionism. So this has really been helping me kind of work on myself. It just feels like art, and it feels simple and playful, but it's very therapeutic for me, and I know a lot of people that is very therapeutic for too, and that's why I keep sharing these bullet journal spreads. So I hope that you all are enjoying it, but if you're getting some kind of therapeutic effect from watching or doing your own spreads, even if you're like creating the ones or recreating the ones that I'm doing, then let me know in the comments, because it's a very vulnerable thing to have kind of like OCD or some other kind of neurodivergence. And I'm sharing that for the first time with you all, and it's something that I'm becoming more comfortable with, and you can kind of see that through the progression of all of my bullet journal spreads this year. So I'm proud of me, and if you're going through something like this too, then I'm proud of you too. So let me know so I can congratulate you in the comments. But for instance, I can see all the flaws in this spread, but I'm still going. And like, that might not be a big deal to you all, but it's a huge deal to me and the people that know me and know that I like to get things perfectly the first time, or like I will literally throw it away. So I'm like just ecstatic and elated that I'm continuing to keep going. Now, you will see that I don't fight that perfectionism 100% because I do kind of go back and try to get the strokes exactly right, but there are parts of this spread that I just have peace with that won't be perfect in whatever sense that means, because it might be perfect to somebody else. But anyway, you can kind of see what I mean about the strokes of the brush kind of separating. So you can see that separation that shows you that it's a real brush in that pen. I do actually kind of like this, and I'm thinking I'm going to try to do some flowers at some point to see how I like that with these pens as well. Now I'm going back with similarly colored color pencils and doing that simple dropped line shadow that you all see me do almost all the time. Like, I don't want to say 100% of the time because, you know, that's probably inaccurate, but it's definitely almost all of the time. I really love this look of this drop, kind of like separated line that's kind of like a drop shadow. And I'm just going in, like I said, and using these different color pencils to get the right color to kind of go along with that brush pen letter for each one. I found that I really like color pencils, you all. So part of my OCD issue is that I don't like a mess, which is why I draw all of my stickers in Procreate. Fun fact. But I didn't actually use traditional mediums as often because I didn't like the mess of the watercolors and the paint and the water and the cleanup and all of that. So I was using Procreate on my iPad, and that's what I still use because it makes the most sense for the stickers because I would have to digitize them anyway. But doing these Bujo spreads allows me to play around with so many mediums, and it's so much more satisfying than I thought it would be. It allows me to also find different techniques that I like and finally decide on which mediums are my favorite. So I really love acrylic markers that you have seen me do in other spreads, but I really like water-based markers, and these markers make me feel like I'm really painting because of that real brush on the tip. But the other thing that I like is color pencil. Color pencil looks great with as a secondary medium with water-based markers and acrylic markers, and of course they look great, you know, mixing them together with just other color pencils. But now I'm adding these pumpkins because I did still want it to seem like we were ringing in fall, but just in a more colorful way. I went in with those Zig Clean Color brush markers to make the kind of like base of the pumpkin, that base color that's down there. And then I'm just going in with different color pencils to kind of blend everything together and give it some texture. I'm finding the spots in the spread that give me you know, just give me a little space to make a nice size pumpkin without overdoing it. I did use this white Archer and Olive calligraph. No, this is not a calligraph. This is an acrylograph. And I used this in the last video. I think that I might actually like these more than the, what are those called? The gel pens that I was using before. These white in particular, the white acrylographs, the acrylic comes out so clean and smooth, and it's so opaque that I can fix a lot of mistakes, especially in this thick Bujo paper, this Archer and Olive notebook, that gives me enough thickness in the paper to not worry about anything bleeding over to the other side most of the time. So I'm doing a pink pumpkin and a like yellowy pumpkin on this side. I still wanted to keep it fun. I am in the mood for pumpkins, which stay tuned, follow me on Instagram, and also make sure that you subscribe to emails because I share a lot of information in my emails as well. But these pumpkins are a precursor to the next stickers that are coming out. So, and there are some pumpkins that you all have been asking for me to bring back that I am bringing back. And I think you'll be excited, especially, hint, hint, if you use a Hobonichi Weeks. then I do have some fun stuff coming. So I'm going in with a black color pencil to make these letters pop just a little more. So on the same side that I put the colored drop shadow, I'm putting these black shadows on the same side of each letter. I'm fixing a few mistakes with those acrylographs. I really love the acrylographs, y'all. Like, I think I have them linked. I'll also make sure that these Zit Cling colors and all of the color pencil brands that I use are linked too. I mentioned last video that I do have an Amazon storefront now. Yay, yay, yay. And so everything will be linked in there. I did get all of these from Amazon, so that'll be great to link in there. So now I'm taking that white acrylograph again, and I'm going through and kind of cleaning up some of the letters if I feel like there's a hump or bump somewhere. But I'm also adding these little kind of like shiny marks that you all have seen me add again all the time. Whenever I add these kind of like accents with the white, I like to go in with what I know I definitely want to do. And then if I feel like I need to add some in some spaces later, then I'll do that after I finish them all. And that's what I'm doing now. So I started with the like line and dot at the top, and now I'm going back and adding in different spaces, those kind of like bottom shiny marks, if you will. And then sometimes I kind of go back over and like make them more opaque so they pop a little more on the spread. So now I'm going to just go and make sure that all my lines are where they need to be, and then we'll go over to the right side of the page. Honestly, y'all, I changed my mind in real time because I was going to make each of these boxes for that calendar like completely filled in with color, but it was just feeling like too much when I was thinking about like how it would look and how I would actually write on each of these colors. And so I decided to kind of just like outline a side of the box, which I guess technically is really like a shadow on the side of the box, which kind of makes it even go more with the left side of the page now. But I'm alternating colors because I wanted to keep it just as colorful as the other side. And I'm not using every single color that I used in September, but I am trying to use the lighter colors and the colors that are a little brighter that make this page really come together. I do really like that I used the orange and brown because even though I'm keeping it light and bright, that orange and brown still makes it feel like fall. Like I don't think I would have used orange and brown in a colorful summer spread. So it's colorful, but it still has like some of those fall elements in there. And I'm just going through and making sure that I don't have any of the same colors beside each other, above each other, or directly diagonal to one another, but kind of still mixing it up so it's not like a pattern too. And this actually ended up going by pretty quickly, which is great for Bujo spreads because as much as I like to keep them pretty, I don't want to feel like I'm spending a crazy amount of time decorating the spread and not actually like writing in the spread. So now I'm taking that same acrylograph and I am just cleaning up a few spots where I just didn't like the lines. And I have now this fine liner. This is a size 3 fine liner, and I'll make sure I link this one, but you can use any one that you have at home, obviously. And I am writing just kind of like in this uppercase of my handwriting each day of the week, and then I'm gonna go in and write the actual day numbers, the dates for each of the spots. And I am happy to report again, just like August, this is my second time because August was my first time not messing up the dates. Yay again. So normally I do some kind of quote or something, but I didn't really know what to write this time. Last month I didn't write the year in, so like I didn't put 2025 on the spread. And this time I felt like that was just enough space for a chunky 2025 that was similar, like a similar lettering style to how I did September. So I decided to try something new and different and just fill this spot with 2025. I'm doing that same lettering style like I said before, so I'm kind of drawing in the general shape of the number and then going back and kind of like making it look exactly the way that I wanted. The letters are touching. I really like that. And I like how the ink from these clean, Zig Clean Color brush pens kind of touches each other, so you don't get like that real watercolor effect of like the colors like bleeding into each other, but you can see some of the overlap, and I do kind of like that. I am gonna try these like with a wash to get like more of a watercolor effect, but I haven't decided what exactly I want to draw to get that. So I'll make sure I post a video when I do that. If you're interested in seeing it, let me know. But I'm using that same style. I'm gonna go back again with the color pencil for each color and do the same drop shadow and the same black shadow that's actually touching the letters like I did, touching the numbers like I did for the letters too. And that's really helping to tie the page in together with the other side. So I do still kind of feel like this page is missing something. I'm going on ahead and adding those kind of like highlights to the letters like I did, or to the numbers like I did for the letters on the left side. But I'm thinking I want to maybe like add something to tie the pages in a little bit better. And I'm going to go in and add some pumpkins to the right side in that vacant space there. And I'm being careful to make sure that I don't like stack them right on top of each other, but also giving them some alternating colors than the pumpkins on the left side. I'm doing the same exact technique. I love making these little like doodly pumpkins, and they're super easy. They're just like 3 little humps. I have other videos where I've showed you how to make these pumpkins and other little fall cozy things. I'll actually link that video here now that I'm thinking about it. And these are so simple, you all, and it's so easy to get that base level down, and then you just go in and add little shadows wherever those humps would have made shadows on the pumpkin. And so I'm starting off with the shadows in the brush pens, and then I take like the same color and kind of blend it out. Now I will say these brush pens do kind of blend a little bit better after sitting on the page slightly longer than the Tombow brush pens, and that's just because there's more water in these pens, so that water will kind of reactivate a little bit. It doesn't don't think that you can let this dry completely and you're gonna get a great blend, but you can like leave it on the page a little longer, slightly longer than the Tombows, and you'll still get a nicely blended surface there. And then I like to blend a little more with the color pencils. So down there on the bottom, I'm putting just like a little bitty pumpkin just to kind of fill in that space. These also work the same way as other water-based brush pens, in the sense that if you put a base layer on the page, you let it dry for just a little bit, and then you add another layer, you do get kind of like that darker color to add just like a subtle shadow to. So that's nice if you were wondering about that. I'm adding this last little stem to the pumpkin, and we're pretty much done with this spread, y'all. The last pumpkin I actually used orange and brown because I wasn't really sure a darker orange, like if it would make a big difference, and I really like the orange and brown together. But like I said, we're pretty much done with this spread. I really hope you all enjoyed watching this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, comment to let me know that you're here, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.